I'm a big fan of realism, which is an inconvenient part of about sustainability. Specifically, this bakery, we make a whole lot of bread. This is a loaf of what we call sunny flax. It's got sunflower, sesame, flax, and poppy. What the amount of bread that we make looks like a whole lot. You guys help me unload like a fifth of the total flour that we're going to use in the next week. That's all going to turn into bread. And we get that flour from, the sources that I was describing, like from as close to here as we can, farmed in as sustainable a way as grain farming can be. I believe in all those things. I want to support farmers. I think it's good to source from local growers, all of that stuff. But here's the other important part that I never feel comfortable sending a group away without talking a little bit deeper about it. A good friend of mine who's been a baker for 4 decades, he's a couple of years ago came to visit, and he'd been consulting for a bakery that's in Stamford, Connecticut. And this bakery that he was consulting for, they wanted to make better bread, and they had asked him, because he's a super experienced master baker, to come in and look at their systems, help them refine some of their processes. It's called Ciabasso. Maybe you've seen them in the grocery store. They distribute all over New York City, into Connecticut, New York City, a little bit onto Long Island. And there are probably 600 bakeries in this country that are of that size or larger. And there are probably a dozen or more of that size or larger that are just serving the greater New York metropolitan area. And there's a lot of bakeries this size that are serving the greater metropolitan area, and even smaller, and and everything in between. In one day, that bakery that he was consulting with, they make as much bread as we make in a year. Every 20-hour shift that bakery is in operation, they're making our annual production. And the reason I bring that up is that when we talk about sustainability, it's easy to come to a place like this and be like, wow, Orchard Hill, they have all these answers. They're getting their grain locally. They're using honey from a local beekeeper. They're using eggs from a local egg farm. That's my thing. I love it. I want to do that. I want to work that way. And I get to, and I feel incredibly privileged to work that way and know my producers. Another thing about this bakery, we distribute all of our bread. Most of what we make goes to other stores. So we sell about 5% of the bread that we make. 3 to 5% maybe stays here. And the rest of everything we make goes to other places. We get all that bread to those places because they're far flung. We have 4 minivans, right? And we load those minivans to the ceiling with bread and send them out on deliveries 3 times a week. The idea that it would in any way, going back to our bakery that my friend consulted with, the idea that in any way it would be more sustainable to take this place and duplicate it 300 times to take over what that bakery is doing that he was consulting with in Stamford, Connecticut, is totally bananas. That's not how it would be more sustainable. That bakery is definitely not using local flour. It's not using a single artisan ingredient. They are working at a scale that it just couldn't happen. They can't call around to find out who's got 5 buckets of honey. They're probably using a silo of honey every year, and they're using many millions of pounds of wheat every year. And so like the things that I do here are not going to work in that place, but just like the things that I do here aren't going to work in that place. Making 300 versions of this around the greater metropolitan area of New York City to equal what that bakery is producing for that immediate area is also just not going to be more efficient. It's not going to be more efficient, it's not going to be more ecological, it's not going to be more sustainable.
Yep.
So it's just really fundamental, big issues to deal with. And I am all in favor of like what I was just describing about this place. I love doing it. I feel incredibly privileged to have that opportunity to work with wood. I mean, here would be another example. Like, I burn, that's one day's worth. But when you take that and you multiply it times all 200 days of the year that we're burning that amount of wood, it's about 20 cord. So 20 cords of firewood. A one cord is 4 feet tall, 4 feet wide, and 8 feet long of wood, like a cube, or yeah, it's not a cube. It's a, I don't know what that term is, but so 20 of those. It works, like I said, it works great here because we have access. There's tons of forest. It's a local industry. I keep money local by hiring and paying a nearby, family-run operation. But would that compute or translate to an urban area? Heck no. Like, not even for a minute. Imagine like a truck driving into, a strip mall to like dump 3 cords of firewood. The resourcefulness and the resilience that we need to build isn't about simple answers. Answers are thing in my environment here. I don't know what the answer is for another place. I think we're doing a decent job of making a pretty good model for sustainability here, both in the sense of how we source our ingredients and also in the sense of like how we have a business that more broadly than just its ecological footprint, its social footprint. Are we supporting and creating more connections with the local community? And I think on those fronts, like, we're doing an okay job, but what we do here isn't the answer for everywhere. Thinking about it, being proactive about sustainability is important, and the answer is like totally different everywhere you go. So we're gonna once again divide up into a couple of groups. I'll do the intro and discussion for everybody, but rather than have everybody like make their own pizza, which is fundamentally against everything that I believe in, and inconvenient, we're going to have a group of like 4 or 5 of you over here doing stretching crusts, and then the rest over there topping, and then we'll just sort of make this big collection of delicious pizzas, and then I'll bake them, and then we'll eat them. So the demo is this. These doughs were mixed on Sunday evening. They rose very slowly overnight, Sunday night into yesterday morning, and then they got divided and rounded into their current shape yesterday morning, and then they went to the walk-in cooler, and they stayed in the walk-in cooler for about 29 or 30 hours, and then I pulled them out at around 2 o'clock this afternoon, and they've been sitting again at room temperature. So this is a very slow process. This dough is, many of the characteristics of this dough are the characteristics as they are because of that very long, drawn-out, slow process. But turning a disc of sort of thick disc like this into a very thin pizza crust, it can be done lots of different ways. But what I like to do for folks who are here is demonstrate what I call bear paw hands. So I'm just basically letting gravity largely do the stretching for me. And I'm just moving this with my knuckles around in a circle. I don't really worry about stretching the middle at all, because that happens pretty much just by centrifugal force, that the outside is heavier and it will stretch that center. So most of the actual stretching work is like my thumb and my index finger and my middle finger just sort of like going around that edge. And then the next thing everybody asks is, can you do the thing where you toss it? And the answer is yes. I'll do that on the next one. No. I discourage you from, while we do have a dozen crusts here, and that's plenty, I discourage you from doing the tossing because a lot of times, if you haven't done a lot of the tossing of a pizza crust, you end up putting holes in it or dropping it on the floor. This floor is pretty clean. I wouldn't mind eating off this floor, but you probably, I don't know. You'd have to decide for yourselves. But this is getting to like the very thin, you can sort of almost see through it. Because I've done a few thousand of these, many thousands of these, I can make this happen like all things you repeat enough times, you get pretty good at it, right? So I'm not expecting that everybody will get a perfect circle. The circle doesn't matter. Even holes don't really matter, because we're going to, once they're stretched, we're going to lay these on a piece of parchment on the table, on the board there. And two crusts should fit. I'm actually going to sort of ovalize, rectangularize this, something like that. This is much more tender flour in that a hole will rip into this pretty readily, but I can still get it up into the air. And it does really, it very effectively stretches the crust for sure.